holistic and naturalistic approach to sound, or ecological way to approach sonic behaviors. This is the topic of today, and it's a video I've been reluctant to make for a long time. I wanted to make it, but I didn't dare because I was afraid you might think I'm totally cuckoo and I really lost it. So first of all, hello dear audio wizards and fellow music makers, and today I want to talk about something that has nothing to do with specific tools, but rather with a way to approach the sound, to analyze it and to think about it. Why? Because, well, for those who followed already this channel, you know that my whole point is decisions with intention. Intention is always the key. And I find that too often people are just giving numbers or tricks about cut at this many hertz, put that ratio on a compressor, while losing the whole context and the whole meaning of things. And often also you hear people on forums saying, yeah, just use your ears, right? Without any more guidance about what to pay attention to. And in fact, there are many different parameters you might pay attention to, but the question is, how could you train your ears to listen properly? And instead of going through some hard times and really like technical things, actually, I like to just make a step backwards. So what I would like to do is to cover a few aspects of sonic behaviors that are naturalistic, that are happening all over the place, that everyone knows, that everyone can recognize. First element is distance. Air is filtering high frequencies, and the more distant you are from a source, the quieter it gets and the less higher frequency you have. So when it comes to placing a sound in a mix, before putting any reverb, before trying any processors, just lower a bit the level and also reduce a bit the top end. While doing so, naturally your brain will hear this sound as further away. That's one little thing. Thinking about distance as well. Of course, when you're in a room, the further the sound, the longer the time it comes for the sound to come to your ear, but also for the reverb. So there is no pre-delay. Well, if the sound is really close to you, then the direct sound comes to you, and it takes a long time for the sound to travel and to come back with the reflections, with the first reflection. So if you want to mimic that the sound is close to you in a big room, you need some pre-delay. Of course, in a small room, you can't have any pre-delay because the room is so small that the sound bounces back immediately. Also, while thinking about distance, for example, distance is making events, objects, perceptively slower. Think about that. If something rushes in front of you, it's fast. It just flashes in front of your eyes, super fast. But the train speeding at 300 kilometers per hour, very far away, or even a plane in the sky, feels static. Right? Feels at least maybe not static, but much less dynamic. So reducing the speed of elements is also something that perceptively puts them further away. It's also making everything smaller. Something that is very big is close to you. Something that is very big but very far away will look tiny and small. So thinking of reverb, thinking of high frequency, but for example also transients. Eroding transients is eroding the dynamic. It's making something softer, less moving, more stable in dynamics, means perceptively further away. Also, while you really limit things, not compressor, but with hard limiting, you erode transients, you remove some of the high-end energy. So you're also making it less present. There is less brightness, less harshness. It's further away. So once we understand that, now you get the point of what I want to talk about today, is that you can mimic distance in different ways with different tools, and you can place sounds into a mix with that. I don't know, when it comes to reverb as well, if you are in a room, you will have bass in your sound because the bass is closed and it will bounce back with some modes and other things, but it's closed. When you are outside, low end is just moving through the obstacles. It's not coming back to you. So if you want to recreate a natural outdoor space, you can't have any low end in your reverb. Low end needs to go through. Another example is when it comes to sound design. The first thing is, how is a sound spreading its loudness information through time? That's the most important aspect of things, right? You have sound and no sound. And what is the shape of that decaying is the most important aspect of any given sound. There is no stronger element than sound or silence to craft a sound, right? So next time you want to mimic a certain sound, think first about what is the shape of that sound in terms of level and loudness through time. Is it just a decay? Is it a short decay, then a sustained part, and then a release? Is it just a long decay and it's cut abruptly? So that's the first element. Then maybe, in terms of loudness, the sound is stable, or it can have some movement, some kind of tremolo, right? This is maybe then you can apply some LFO on the level, on the VCA, to give it some shape. Now that you have crafted a proper shape of that sound in level, you need to pay attention. How is the timbre evolving? Does it start with inharmonic partials, noise, transient, snappy things? Is it directly harmonic? Is it bright and then getting slowly dampened? Like when you hit a glass, you have a tiny transient ping, and then very fast after you come into the resonance part of the sound in the pure tone. Is it pure or with just a few harmonics? And this is then how the filter will behave on your oscillator if you are doing subtractive synthesis, or how the FM index is happening on your modulator, or when you are doing FM synthesis, whatever. The synthesis principle doesn't matter. What matters is to understand the natural behavior of the sound. And any percussion has a decay, and it's more of a exponential decaying. It's decaying fast. You have more harmonics at the beginning, and you're getting to a more sustained, more pure tone-ish tail of the sound. This is why, for example, Buchla was famous for the low pass gate bongos, because they have this behavior doing both a filter and a VCA, that you have harmonics at the beginning and you get close to just the fundamental to the lower frequency at the end of the tail of that decaying. And then you can choose, is your envelope linear, which might not work very well for percussions, for example, or more exponential. Once you have crafted that, then you can think about the pitch. Is the pitch stable through time? Is the pitch moving like a vibrato from a violin, but is the vibrato starting immediately? Or do you have a ramp in? Is there an envelope that is applied on the LFO applied to the pitch? This is maybe a more violin. Or, I don't know, for tabla, do, do, do. There is a small pitch up coming, boo, boo, that is giving a shape in the pitch. Or a kick drum, do, do, or big 808, do. This is the length of the decay. So here again, we see that we know all this. These are not specifically technical behaviors. And if we pay attention, we can dissect all those elements. And once we have dissected them, then it's a matter of what tools can we use to transform or to shape the sound like we want. Talking about compression, we spoke about the transients with very short attack time eroding the transients. But for example, if you leave some attack open, that the transients pop through, and we are thinking about the speed of the release. Do we let just some transients through and then it's compressed and the sound is stable? Or do we have a short release that in the decay phase of the sound, the compressor opens again? And when you think about that, psychoacoustically, is tau stronger than tawa? The tawa gives an impression of deformation, of actually, when you think about that, if you have a mosquito that is walking on some sheet of metal, metal will not move. If you have a big elephant, do, on every step, something is moving. So printing movement is also printing weight to a sound. And when you think about what I said earlier about the limiters, eroding those transients is placing a sound further away. Well, actually, if you open the attack time and you get the transients pop through, and then you have the movement, you're making the sound more dynamic with a short release of the compressor, you're actually making the sound more alive, more moving, more present, more close to you, more transients, more movement, and this is grabbing the attention. Now, when you think about that, we spoke about placing a sound in the mix with rolling off the highs and the level, but the compressor is also a tool that helps you place a sound in the mix, and you don't want everything to be in front of you. You want some things to be in front, something to be further away. Again, why? Because of nature. We don't have all objects around us just in front of our face or very far away. We have a 3D stage around us. And if you want your mix to be really intelligible, this is the whole theory of 3D mixing, you need some elements that are close to you, some elements that are further away, some that are in the middle, some that are in the sides. And while placing all those sounds in this tridimensional field, then you create a mix where every sound source is clearly intelligible and where your sounds are not fighting against each other. So you need sounds that have brightness, that have transients, some other where they are eroded or that are rolled off. You need some sounds that have a lot of low end, some others that have not. But instead of just thinking, oh, I need to roll off a frequency, think in terms of where do I want to place my sound in the mix. And a little exercise that you can do for yourself is for the next days or weeks when you listen to music, instead of just appreciating the music, try to analyze the music in those terms. Do you hear the kick lower? Higher? Is it just a tiny line? Is it thick? Is it close to you? Is it further away? How is the bass? How could you place all those sounds in the tridimensional stage? And what is the shape of any of those sounds? Which ones are static? Which ones are dynamic? Which ones are bright? Which ones are dark? Which are close, further away? These are all natural cues that we know. You don't need to think about how is the compressor acting? How is the EQ working? Think in terms of how do I feel these sounds? How do they talk to me? And once you have written that down, and when you do this for your own music, now you can think of what are the tools that I can help to translate that intention, right? So I don't know, maybe you're thinking, now I'm crazy and you will unsubscribe the channel, or maybe actually there is something in there that you can try to apply for yourself. If it was helpful, leave me a little like, let me know. Actually, it would be nice to talk about this with you in the comments. And if you enjoy the channel, don't forget to hit the little subscribe button. Cheers, bye-bye.